Hey friends, this is Elif. I'm a digital marketer and I've been in this space for the last 10 years, primarily working with B2B companies. Lately, I've spent over 50 hours studying, auditing, revising, and creating landing pages from scratch. And I figured on this beautiful Sunday, let's talk about landing pages because we don't give them enough love and attention. So today we'll be talking about what are some of the top mistakes that people make when creating landing pages, both in a B2B and B2C context. So take whatever we're talking here and apply it to any kind of business. What makes a great landing page? And finally, we're going to look at a couple of solid examples of landing pages that I've been referring to lately from a few B2B companies. And I have my very beloved instruction pen stick with me that is borrowed from my daughter because we are doing a play date simultaneously, but I really wanted to make this video so we can make it with minimum distractions and knocks on the door. Let's go ahead and begin. All right, the number one mistake that people make with landing pages is not paying enough attention to the above the fold section of the page, which means basically the piece of the page that you see when you land, when you open that URL in your browser. So without scrolling down, that's the section that you see. And interesting fact here is that when I was auditing some of the landing pages for work, I noticed that we're actually losing pretty much 30%, 35% of the traffic right below the hero image section. You get 100 people onto that page and 70 are left by the time that hero section is completed. Number one goal of that section is to have a solid headline that communicates your value proposition, that takes them to the subheading, which is the smaller text right underneath, where you explain a little further, maybe provide some social proof, how you deliver on that value proposition and who you do it for. And then you have the CTA right below it because a landing page serves one and only purpose, that is to get people to take action on that call to action that you need them to. So you're going to also determine one single CTA, which we're going to talk about in a minute, but you're going to definitely put that CTA in that above the fold section. Second mistake that people make with landing pages is the messaging. They don't pay enough attention, or they don't put enough hours or thought into the messaging. So ultimately, the copy on your page needs to talk about what you do, how you do it differently, who you do it for, and what is some validation, some social proof that will convince your reader, convince your prospect that you are the right one to be trusted. Third mistake I see all the time is a misalignment between ads and your landing page, visuals, creatives, and copy. So oftentimes maybe brands work on the ads and the landing pages at different times, or maybe the landing page gets a revision but the ads are forgotten, or the ads get a revision but the landing page doesn't. So whatever the case is, whatever the order is, there is oftentimes a misalignment, or again, not enough attention paid, let's say, to having a very strong alignment between the ads and the landing page. Ultimately, the goal is for the prospect to, well, once you capture them through the ad, I guess, you want them to have a very coherent, seamless experience when they land on the landing page. So the messaging that they see in the ad that makes them click and convert to come to your page, it needs to be almost the exact same message. It needs to complement each other. They need to feel like they are still on that brand journey and they are still experiencing more from your brand versus seeing different things or reading different messages. Fourth mistake that's super common and super easy to fix, so you're gonna be able to fix it right after maybe watching this video, is having multiple CTAs on landing pages. So ultimately, as I said, the goal of the landing pages is for the prospect to take one single action. You don't want to be confusing people when they land on this landing page, right? And ultimately, when they are at the bottom or wherever they are in their journey, you want them to take one single action. So don't use different verbiage in the CTA buttons, and don't use different CTAs across the page. So don't have like read more, discover, book a meeting, book a demo, request some time, let's chat. I see this all the time, a combination of CTAs, but please, this is something you can fix super easily. Fifth thing that is often overlooked is not checking the website speed and mobile accessibility or mobile friendliness, I guess, which is extremely important. When I was doing an audit on a couple of our landing pages, I noticed that, and this was very interesting to find out, is for one of the brands that I was working with, the traffic from mobile is actually a lot higher than desktop, which was quite surprising, I'll be honest. But it was around 60 to 70% mobile, and the remaining was desktop. And when I checked our mobile friendliness or mobile responsiveness, I think that's how it's called, we actually failed in the mobile accessibility test. This can be something that we don't pay much attention to when we are thinking of, designing the page and getting it out there, but we forget about the fact that it needs to be accessible, it needs to be responsive on different devices as well. So again, do a website test and do a responsiveness test to figure things out for your landing page. The sixth thing that you can fix right away, or the sixth mistake, if you want to look at it from that angle, is having a lot of distractions on the landing page. So having a large footer that has a lot of links, having a navigation menu at the top of the page with a lot of options, having multiple links at the top bar. No, because what you want them to do, again, is to stay on that page, focus on what you have on that page, and take an action. You don't want them to go through other pages of the website. You don't want them to be distracted with other content, other links, etc. So this is something that you can, again, fix very quickly. Second part of our lesson is the anatomy of a landing page and what makes a landing page great. We kind of already covered it while we were talking about the mistakes, but I'm going to take you through these 7 steps that make the perfect anatomy for a landing page. So number 1 is your page title. It must match ad copy and be very clear on your messaging. A stranger should be able to understand the message right away when they see the headline. They need to be able to see what your offer is. Number 2 is having concise headlines and supportive copy. You want short and sharp copy, and you want to be able to even capture the attention of scanners, because you know what, like, that's the reality. When we land on these pages, when we click on ads and we land on these pages, we're actually just skimming through. We're doing a very quick scan. And I also did some study on how we do scans when we land on pages. And apparently one of the top ones is a zigzag method when we kind of scan through the content in that format. So having short and sharp copy with strong headlines is definitely going to help you capture even the scanner's attention. Number 3 is social proof. So you want to be including testimonials, logos, maybe case studies, quotes, something of that sort to establish trust, because what if this is the very first time that this prospect is landing on your page or encountering your brand? 4 is CTA, cannot be vague. Learn more, discover. We want to avoid these, make it visible and above the fold, and we need a single offer. Number 5, accessible form fields. So you need to identify what is required and what is nice to have. So if you have 10 fields because you thought it was going to be really nice to have all of that information, including their birth dates or gender or whatnot, take another stab at it and make sure that you are only asking for the required fields that are an absolute necessity for your marketing and sales teams to capture, because you don't want to be overwhelming your prospect with a very huge form. And you also want to make sure that you are using labels versus placeholders and avoiding repeating the labels in the questions that you're asking in the form. Number 6 is using compelling images and video. I mean, this is a no-brainer at this time, but basically you want to have really high resolution and really aligned, well-aligned creatives, whether that's a video or image that you choose to go with, that really matches and complements your copy on the page. And finally, number 7 is using a lot of negative space. Sorry, my door.
And Sally can't open these.
One eternity later.
Alrighty, we are back, and hopefully that was the last distraction. And number 7 of what makes a great, beautiful landing page is using negative space. You want to keep it simple and clutter-free, and you want to be breaking the elements by using white space on your landing page. Oh my God, this is actually really fun to use. Now on to the final bit of this video to look at a couple of really solid landing page examples that I have been taking inspiration from and I have been also referring to when I'm doing these studies and audits. So number one is Monday.com's project management landing page. So I absolutely love it because super clean and clear headline. Again, project management made easy, and then a very, very solid subheading that complements it and makes you go to the next step, which is manage simple to complex projects and everything in between with Monday.com. And then what I absolutely love about this page is that you get to select what you want to manage. So these are all of the things, and it's interactive. So this is a bit more advanced on the development side maybe, but having the ability to check things off here in this interactive list is wonderful because everything that you're checking off here is basically one of the pain points that landed you on this page and that brought you here to look for a solution. Think of it this way, like they have landed on this page to solve a pain point that they have or accomplish a goal that they have. And while you're clicking on these, it gives you that empowerment of you're going to be able to solve these things, accomplish these things when you get started with Monday.com. And you're also going to notice that the CTA is very bright, very clear, and it is the same across the site. You don't have a navigation menu at the top. CTA here, CTA here. Logos right here to establish trust, CTA, CTA. Really solid images, videos everywhere. It kind of divided the abilities of the platform into four, so you can kind of move through the tabs instead of needing to scroll down to learn about all of the value propositions. So they have just bundled up the value propositions in a different form, which I absolutely love. It does require maybe a little more development than a regular CMS template, but great. Again, coming over here, manage any project your way, really sharp and clear copy button once again, and then giving some numbers on how efficient your team can be by, I think Forrester is a research company if I'm not mistaken, so it is kind of giving you that trust and credibility factor once again, but it is telling you how much you can save, how much more efficient you can be if you use this. And then here we go, a case study video. Haven't watched it, but probably a brilliant one that really articulates the benefits really well. And then we scroll down a little bit more. Once again, another section to help you trust this platform a little bit more by adding the G2.com crowd reviews. With all the badges that you're going to be able to recognize because it's kind of an industry standard. And then finally, the call to action where you don't see the form openly here. I think they don't ask much in the form either. But finally, a very solid, once again, call to action text, which is join more than 180,000 customers that manage their projects better. And with that analysis, I think I'm going to wrap up this video because if I continue, it's going to be way too long. I think it is already way too long. Hopefully this was helpful for you and you took away a lot of things. If you have a landing page that needs some loving care and attention, this is a call to action for you to pay attention to it and give that landing page some love. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a like. If you're already here watching until the very end, thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate you. It's been a while since I made a video, so I was a bit excited. This pen really helped me today. Thank you, pen. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.